Nights in the winter are often dark and quiet. I used to be afraid of them when I was a kid, but as I started living alone in a house, they didn't bother me much. I started enjoying those quiet and dark nights alone at my house until one day something happened that still haunts me. It started on the night of the first rainstorm of the year. I came from my office late at night after working for 11 hours straight and just wanted to rest for the next few days. I took a shower, turned the heater on, and closed all the windows as it was too cold outside. I was off the next day for work, so I was just relaxing in my bed, watching a movie, and drinking hot coffee. As I took a sip from my coffee, I heard something hitting my window, which nearly gave me a heart attack. I looked at my window and saw the fresh mark of mud that had just splattered over the glass. I opened the window to look outside, but I didn't see anything. But there was something unusual. I heard a creepy giggle of a kid, so I thought that it might be just kids playing outside. I closed the window again, and my attention shifted back to the movie. Not too long before, a second pow at the window followed by the kid's laughter. This time I ignored it, knowing that by giving the kid a reaction, they would keep going. Apparently, that worked because no more mud was thrown at my window that night. The next night it was raining heavily again. The mud throwing started happening again, but with a greater and even horrifying intensity. This time while I was asleep, I woke up to a much louder and more ferocious bang at the window. I opened the window and leaned outside to see who it was. As it was raining a lot, I couldn't see too far out onto the lawn. However, I did hear that scary laugh of the kid again coming out of a dark corner. It sounded like a young boy's laughter. I yelled something out the window at him to warn the kid not to do it again. Luckily, it didn't happen again that night. The next day was a weekend, so I was home that day as well. I spent that whole day thinking about what had happened the night before. While sitting on the couch and thinking about it, I heard a knock on my door. I thought of it to be the delivery guy who came for a recent order of mine that I placed on Amazon. I ran towards the door and opened it, but there was no one outside. Just a creepy and dirty handmade doll covered in mud, sitting on my foot mat outside the door. I kicked it with anger onto the driveway. I was angry at whoever child was bothering me, but I didn't want to do anything aggressive as well. I went inside, and later that day, while eating lunch, I heard someone, again a kid's voice, talking to someone in my room. Again, it shook me to a level that I couldn't even move. I tilted myself slightly to have a vision of my room from where I was sitting, and from a slightly open door of my room, I could see someone running and playing inside my room. And after a moment, everything stopped. Suddenly, a kid's face appeared right at the slightly opened area of the door in my vision. The kid started giggling in the same creepy tone that I had heard from the past couple of days. I was so scared that I just sat there. I thought of it to be my hallucinations, so I sat in the lounge for a long time just to get over this incident. The darkness of the night and the quiet of the winter started sending shivers down my spine. And the continuous fear of someone watching me was a terrifying thing to experience. I went to my room anyway, and no one was in here now. I tried to sleep. After turning off the light in my room, I couldn't sleep because of the fear that someone would again start hitting the window, and it would make me jump out of my skin again. This time I had lots of doubts in my mind. What if it wasn't a kid playing outside? And what if it was someone sneaking in on me or stalking me? Suddenly, just like that, it happened again. Something hit the window beside me with a loud thump followed by a gentle tap on the window. I was ready this time. I jumped out of bed and looked towards the window. As I looked at the window, I saw a small hand tapping on it. And when I stood up and opened the window to see outside, I saw a little kid who just stood there and said, "Hello," and he thanked me for letting him play inside the house. He then took off, and I was confused as hell. I threw on my shoes and coat and ran outside to find him. As I got out, I saw the kid getting greeted by a woman 2 houses down the street. So, I went over there and knocked on the house. The woman opened, and I told her what happened the past few days. She apologized and told me that her son, who apparently was the kid terrorizing me, had hard times finding friends, but he had been out playing by himself and getting to know the neighborhood since they just moved in a few weeks ago. She said it wouldn't happen again, and thank God it didn't.